Hey everybody, I'm just going to do a short flight to Hollister today in this Beechcraft Bonanza. New call letters, KW, Kilo Yankee India Victor, Kilo Yankee India Victor, which spells key. And this is as close as I could come to their colors. This livery, you can change the paint jobs on the plane. So, we're in the cockpit, and I've already done my flight plan over here. It's going to be a short flight. This is by area navigation, RNAV, all the way to the runway. So we will be following the purple arrow down here on the course direction indicator all the way. Cruise altitude is 5,200 feet, descending to 4,100 feet for the start of the approach to runway 31 at Hollister Municipal Airport. We'll be taking off from runway 2, so here in Watsonville. Weather should be interesting. This really is our weather today. Not sure if it's this cloudy outside right now, but there are plenty of clouds, which always makes it kind of more interesting. And let's see, I'm going to have to taxi out that way. And fuel shouldn't be a problem. I didn't gas up, but it's a short flight. So I will now just announce my intention to anybody.
Kilo Whiskey Victor India Traffic Beechcraft Kilo Yankee India Victor is taxiing to runway 27.
No, I'm not. I'm going to 2. Why are they? Well, let's do that.
Kilo Whiskey Victor India Traffic Beechcraft Kilo Yankee India Victor is taxiing to runway 2.
Good. Alright, that's just a general announcement because there's no tower here. So in real life, RIL, you want to let people know what you're doing. It's nice to do. So I release the parking brake and we will pivot around and hopefully not hit that guy or this plane. So I checked the weather in the real weather before I started to plan my flight, and runway 2 said runway 2 was the active runway at Watsonville. Runway 31, where I'm headed in Hollister, is supposed to be the active runway there. So change the altimeter setting to 4100, and then I can activate VNAV, vertical navigation. This approach is an RNAV approach with vertical navigation to the runway. So it works just like an ILS ground-based radio signal, but it's entirely GPS satellite driven. I'm just taking off to the north.
Kilo Whiskey Victor India Traffic Beechcraft Kilo Yankee India Victor taking off runway 2 north departure.
That's it. I don't need. All I had to do was announce my plans. Lower the flaps. These short flights don't tax my attention span. The longer ones do. I just wind up falling asleep sometimes. It says skies will be pretty interesting. It's center here. That's pretty good. Alright. And away we go. Rotate at about 70 knots, 75 knots. What about here? Raise the gear. And about 10-degree descent. What I'm going to do now is turn on the autopilot, the navigation, and light level change. And the plane's just going to climb by itself. I don't have to do anything else. And I will, once we get to 5,200 feet, as I said, I'll change the altitude setting to 4,100, then I can activate vertical navigation. So we will be going via Salinas initially, and then heading over that way. Let's bring up the chart. Well, we're not exactly over here, but that's all right. That's the plan. Thanks. And that's the approach. So we'll descend to, I need to be at 4,100 feet by this waypoint, which is Big Rook, and then 3,300 at Jindy, and 2,700 at KMF, and then down to 1,700 feet. I hope it doesn't get to freezing in this. That could be a problem. If we get ice, all bets are off. And I might get ice in these clouds. And I should raise my flaps. That would help. Well, it's freezing. I don't know. This doesn't have much in the way of de-icing. It has prop de-ice. Anyway. Turn that on. But no airframe de-icing. That's why I like to take the, that's why I've been taking the twin-engine Beech Baron, because it has full de-icing. I've been fooling around flying these flights in Europe, England, and in the UK, Ireland, UK, and now reached France the other few days ago. Flew to, well, it's cold up here, 28 degrees. Let's hope we don't get a problem. I would have to descend pretty fast. I really like this paint job, and the colors are just right for the in Europe. Well, it's a really interesting day here, as you can see. Well, if we don't have to go through many clouds, ice should not be a problem. The first time I encountered it was early in my flying on the simulator, my simulated flying. I flew from, I think I was going from Watsonville to Modesto, and it was, this time of year, and there were clouds, and as I descended through the clouds, the plane started to really pick up some ice on the wings, and it was this plane, the Beech Bonanza, and there's only, as I said, there's only de-icing for the propeller. And that doesn't help you much if your wings ice up. We are now at our cruising altitude, so I'm going to change this to 4,100 feet. And then I'm going to push a button over here. It says VNAV. And now we have this white VPTH, which is VPAP. So that means that, let me see, let me change this, if I can move this thing. So there's the approach. This would be the initial fix. This is the final approach fix. You have to be at 2,700 feet at that point. The way this is supposed to work with vertical navigation is when we get here, 5,200 feet, that'll be what they call the top of descent, or TOD. And then the plane should just start descending on its own. That's the way it's supposed to work. We'll see. Anyway, we're reaching Salinas now, and starting our turn, going to cross over the Gavilan Mountains, I believe they're called, on the east side of the Salinas Valley. The west side is Santa Lucia Range. That's the Santa Lucia Range there. These are the Gavilan Mountains. I know this area well because I lived here. Lived in the Salinas Valley for several years, in Salinas for many more, and for this very short flight, I wanted to broadcast it live on Facebook. For some reason, that failed. You can look every which way in this sim. One thing I have to remember to do is I've loaded the approach, but I have to arm it. Sometimes I forget. If you don't arm it, nothing's going to happen. What I did before was to arm VNAV to get this V-path up here. And if you've watched these before, and for people who never have, I don't blame you. I will know I'm on the vertical path, V-path, when it goes green. Then I'm going to know everything's working right. But we're doing about 165 knots true airspeed. That's about 190 knots true airspeed. And we're 1.5 miles to the next waypoint. Now we're there, and turning. And the next waypoint is Keddy, K-E-D-Y. And Keddy is still 5,200 feet. So once we hit that, I'm hoping we're going to start descending. We haven't picked up any ice, that's good. We are getting bumped around a little bit. There's somebody with a jet. An F-18, recent addition. He's close, could actually see him. To the simulator, an F-18 Tomcat. Tried it once. We are on VPAT now. It just went green. And we're descending. Hey, it's working, folks. I gotta slow down because I want to be at 4100 at Hickory. And otherwise we could miss our get off this VPAT if I don't hit the right altitude at the right time. And there we are. And I think, okay, I'm going to try to arm the approach here. We're still going down. That's good. Let's see. Okay, we're descending. I just armed the approach. We have GP there. Uh-oh. We're descending because I was slowing down. As I was talking. Lost the, got the VPAT back. Well, that's what happens when you don't pay attention. I was not watching my airspeed and almost stalled. And that's what that sound was. That got my attention pretty fast. Now I've got to slow some more. Don't really need this chart now. Let's get rid of it. I don't want to overrun my next waypoint, which is well, that's the final approach fix. I better be at 2700 pretty soon. I'll change the altitude setting to 1300 feet to give the autopilot permission to keep going after 2700. So I need to be there in a mile. I think I'll make it. Okay, we're on the glide path now because that just went green, VPAT went away, and we're on the glide path. So that's that. I didn't muff it up. Use a polite term of phrase. And we are at hitting 2700 right now. Just past CAMF. And we should be going down. There's the runway dead ahead. Runway 31 at Hollister. This little diamond here, that's the glide path indicator, and we're right dead on it. If it was above us, we'd be too low, and below here, we'd be too high. So everything's working as planned, as long as I don't stall the airplane, you know. And we are still several miles from the airport. Never flown over it. I've flown by it, never flown to it. Over that direction is Pinnacles National Park. Been down there many times. There's a little airstrip there. I might go looking for it sometime. Just follow the road. Okay, the next waypoint's coming up shortly. Now, and we're map means the airport, R31 map, and runway 31, and it's dead ahead, doing about 100 knots, true airspeed. Not ready to use the flaps yet. Passing 1,300 feet. I don't know what the elevation at Hollister is. It's higher than Watsonville, I think, by a few hundred at least. There's Hollister. Nice town. I'll put the gear down before I forget. Gear down. And 1 notch of flaps. And this is about the right landing speed. Okay, I can just land with 1 notch of flaps. It's passing 500 feet. And just working the throttle. Theoretically, this would take me right to the runway, but I've never tried that. I always disengage the autopilot. And a few hundred feet now. So I think I will disengage now. And it wasn't bad. Never announced my landing intentions, so I probably should have. But there's no tower here that I know of. Watching. One of the reasons I really enjoy doing this lately is because it's kind of it's immersive enough that it takes me away from other things, other concerns. When I'm doing this, I don't worry about other stuff. I just do this. So that's kind of refreshing. Here's the other runway. Runway 24, over the opposite side, and 6. Nobody's coming, so let's just go across. And I'll go park this thing. I wonder if you're wondering how I steer the plane. It's with a rudder. It's not, you don't steer it like an automobile. It's more like sailing. It's like sailing on the ground is what it's like. Okay. There's some guys over there. I'll just park over there. Okay, well, that's it. Nobody here. Nobody here but us chickens. So here we are. I made it to Hollister in my snazzy blue and yellow plane. New call letters. Kilo, Yankee, India, Victor. Used to be Aloha, now it's Kiev. And so I hope you enjoyed this flight, and I'm going to leave you with a traditional air traffic control send off, which is good day.